Good morning, everybody. Just going to give everybody, some time to get joined in. I'd like to give at least 2 or 3 minutes, just make sure we have everybody, and we will go from there. Today we will be covering ProjectHQ with a specific focus on the QuickBooks integration and project management, and kind of go from there. This presentation or just webinar, we do these about once a month. Again, with today's being on ProjectHQ, this webinar will be recorded and shared if you guys do want to send it to anybody else that would want to see this. Like I said, just give a couple more minutes and make sure everybody has some time to get in. This one probably is going to end up taking about 20-25 minutes roughly, and then we'll have some time for questions at the end of the session. Gonna go ahead and flash my contact information on here. If anyone wants to note it down, it will be on the screen towards the end of our call as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get rolling. ProjectHQ. We're going to go ahead and start off. There's a couple different parts of our ProjectHQ system. So overall, our HQ suite has a handful of different areas. It has ProjectHQ, which is your fully web-based project management software connected in with QuickBooks, where you can do your correspondence tracking, your change order management, work management, pull your reports out and things of that nature. We also have what we would call our Schedule HQ or our Crew HQ, or the scheduling tab over here on the very left-hand side. We also have a couple other things, which would be the Executive HQ reporting and then the Safety HQ. We're not really going to get into the Safety HQ today, but if anybody had any questions on those, you guys can let me know towards the end of the session, and I can get you guys some information on that. So just to go ahead and start, we're going to go ahead and start on our home page here. And this is where you'll be able to see your snapshot of the entire system. This is where you're going to see a list of your projects, any overdue documents, any upcoming documents, and any recent documents. We're going to see a snapshot of our project schedule. And then we're also going to see our action items and the weather down here at the very bottom. As I work down our list, I'm going to skip through the projects and the scheduling just for a moment, and I'm going to click us down into our contact. This is going to give us our contact list, where we can see a list of all of the contacts that we have in the system. These can be imported into the system initially, and also flow back and forth from QuickBooks as well. So when you put something into QuickBooks, a customer, an employee, a vendor, or anything of that nature, that will flow over into ProjectHQ so that you guys can use it, email out of the system, whatever you need there. Next, we have our reporting, which I just want to show you just quickly. Here are all of the reports that we have in the system, and all of these reports can be customized to your guys' specifications. So when I actually get down into the setup, we can actually see that all of these forms and templates can be adjusted. So I'm going to jump past the time card piece here, and I'm actually going to go into the setup. This is where we'll be able to see our integration. So this is where the integration from QuickBooks and ProjectHQ is actually put together. When we have something that's created in ProjectHQ that needs to be linked to a QuickBooks customer, we can do that, and we can actually push the information back and forth. So if you guys want to create a project in ProjectHQ and have it flow to QuickBooks, you can do that, or vice versa, whatever you prefer the workflow to be there. Same thing goes with your customers, jobs, employees, cost codes, so on and so forth. Here in the setup, we can also see the user permissions and user setup. We can create users here in the system, and then we can set up permission groups. And in these permission groups, we can limit what our users have access to. and what parts of the system that you want them to have. So we can go full access, or we can create different access, and say, hey, we don't want this person to have the ability to create and edit projects, and so on and so forth. Also in the setup is where you're going to see all of the different entry points in the system and the different things that we can do to adjust how you enter change orders, commitments, daily logs, so on and so forth. And this is where we can also adjust and change the templates as well. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just click on the change order. It's very similar for the other parts of the system as well, and what you can change and things of that nature. We can create different statuses, different change reasons, different options when they're doing entering, create values for drop-down menus that are more specific to your guys' needs. And then we can also create our custom templates here. So in the templates, we'll have default templates that are in the system. And then you'll also see that we can go ahead and edit these templates and create templates that you guys can adjust and fit to your guys' liking. So all of these can be completely customized in the system to fit your guys' needs. If you guys have any like legal verbiage that your subcontract agreements have to have or anything of that nature, we can put those into the system as well. And that kind of goes for all of the other options in here in the settings. Anything, can be adjusted to fit your guys' needs in terms of entry. So now I'm going to jump us back into our home screen and look at our dashboard again. The other portion of the dashboard, besides just the system overview, is going to be the reporting section. So this is the first part of the QuickBooks reporting that you'll get that links into QuickBooks. So when you guys put in invoices and costs and billings into QuickBooks, that information does flow forward into ProjectHQ and gives you guys the job cost reporting. And it gives you guys the reporting over here on a system-wide overview. Now you can get the same reporting with more detail when you look at it on a project basis. So that's where we're going to actually go into next. If I click down into the projects, I can open up, I can look at active projects or inactive, and I can run reports on my project list as well, and I can open up a project. The first thing I'm going to go ahead and look at is we have our dashboard. This is where you can do daily logs. You can look at a snapshot of the project schedule, get a snapshot of your mailbox, overdue documents, action items, and the weather. So similar to the previous dashboard, just more specific on this specific project. I can also look at the details of the project. This is where we're going to put in our project address and our statuses and things of that nature. If I jump down, I'm going to go into our resources tab next. And our resources, this is where we can view our schedule. I'm going to circle back into the schedule actually and show that after we show these other features here on the ProjectHQ side of things. When I click on the work management, I can go in and I can create action items and enter action items in the system. So I can create an action item, and then I can assign that action item to somebody, and it'll notify them and say, hey, this action item has been assigned to you for this project. And then when they go into it, they can mark it as completed, and it'll notify the original person that did create it. I can do daily logs and enter all of my daily logs into the system, delays, equipment logs, labor, subcontract hours, materials, notes, photos, weather logs, and you can have these weather logs be manual, or they can be pulled from online and do them automatically as well. I can track my documents, so this is where I can track my RFIs and my submittals. When you create a change order, an RFC, an RFI, your submittals, if any of those need to be emailed, you can either have those be emailed out of the system specifically, or you guys can email them from your own email app and kind of go from there. So it's your preference on how you want those emails to look. If you guys want to take the PDF out and send it via your own email, or you guys just want to use the mail app directly through ProjectHQ, either one of those, can be done in the system when you open those up. To show you what the entry portion of the system looks like, they're all going to be very similar to what it looks like right here. And like I said, in the settings, we can go in and we can adjust the different entry and the different statuses and the reasons and priorities. And we can require certain things to be filled out, not have other things filled out, to try to make entry as easy as possible. But you can basically go through and you can fill these fields out. You can create custom attachments, create custom fields, and then you can save and send directly through the software, or when you guys go ahead and save it, you guys can actually either email directly out of ProjectHQ, or it'll link you directly to your mail app and you guys can email from your own email. You guys can also create custom punch lists. The custom punch list is something, it's basically just a checklist in the system. These can be copied from job to job. If you guys have very similar like pre-construction checklists or things that you guys do on a, job by job basis, you guys can create those punch lists, assign people to those punch lists, keep track of those items as they get done. To circle back to the last thing here in the work management, we can also track AIA worksheets out of ProjectHQ. And this is where we can actually set up our AIA. So I can put in all of my general details here, and I can create custom retainage rules for the AIA. I can build out my schedule of values in the schedule of value area and put that into the system. And this can be copied from the budget as well if your AIAs do match out with the budget. If not, you guys can build these out manually. Don't have to match out with the budget. And then on my applications, this is where I can go in and I can put in my percentage complete for all my line items and actually start creating my billings. So once you create an AIA worksheet, you can actually then go and run that report and it would build out that AIA worksheet. And these can be customized as well. This is just one example, one template of our billing, the AIA type document. I'm going to go ahead and circle back over here to the work management. I'm going to go ahead and work down to the change management. You can view your budget, how you're doing on your budget in the system as well. As you guys do change orders in the system, it'll update the budget, flow back and forth. This is also where you can create RFCs and do change management as well. So on the RFCs, we can create RFCs in the system. We can send those out, get them back, get them approved, and then we can create, change orders or convert the RFCs to change orders. You can convert multiple RFCs into one change order and basically let that flow through the system to the change orders as needed. And it gives you some nice graph reports down here as well, so you guys can keep track of the change orders. Committed cost, next option down. We can track our purchase orders into the system. So if I go ahead and open one of these up, I can create a purchase order in the system. I can email it to the vendor straight through the system. I can create custom templates. I can even come down here into the bottom and I can actually give this a budget impact as well. That'll adjust the budget based off of the purchase order that's put into the system and track all of my committed cost here in this area. So this is where we can, basically track our change management. We have a labor budget report that's going to work off of the time cards. For anybody that's using payroll for construction, the time card piece in this labor budget report wouldn't necessarily be the biggest thing for you guys because the time cards is going to flow over to QuickBooks if you're doing payroll in payroll for construction. It does not link that direction typically. So time cards would be more with our mobile field log, not necessarily with ProjectHQ here. Collaboration down here, this is where I can keep track of my mailbox. So any emails that are put into the system or sent in and out will be tracked here. If you have an email that gets sent directly to you, you can forward that email into ProjectHQ to keep track of it. And you guys will see them all and they'll be organized here by topic. So if I want to see anything that has to do with an RFC, I can do that. If I want to look at anything that has to do with my RFIs, I can look at those as well. And then track the correspondences in here as it goes back and forth. Under the files, I can keep track of any kind of documents that I have in the system. So I can keep track of, change orders, any attachments, photos, PDFs that you guys would have, and they'll link directly into the software there. To circle out of ProjectHQ, and if anyone has any questions, I'll leave some time for it at the end. I'm going to jump into our scheduling piece next. So under the schedule, this is where we can actually keep track of our tasks for the job. I can look at my tasks and my jobs that I have them assigned to on a daily basis, a weekly, or 3-day, weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis. I'm going to jump this out to the quarter so we can look at it for the quarter. And I can see all of the tasks that I have assigned. You can color coordinate them, put different icons on them for whatever specific reason that you guys need to. And you guys can build out your tasks here. So the schedule or Crew HQ is used for labor, dispatch, and resource management. So this actually does act as a dispatching tool. So you guys can come in here and create a task. I can put in all of my information, start and end date. I can say who was created by, who was scheduled by. I can put in a percentage complete for this portion of the job. I can create category tags for reporting purposes. I can put in my job location. I can use the project address or a different location if that's necessary. And then I can actually start attaching resources in here. So I can attach employees, contacts. I can create a crew of employees and attach the whole crew on there. I can attach equipment, and I can also attach material. When you assign a crew or an employee to the task, it does shoot them a text or email notification, whatever you guys need there. It says, hey, you guys have been assigned onto this task on this job at this time. Gives them all the details so that it can actually dispatch the employees through there. You can look at this scheduling piece on a project basis, and an equipment basis, and employee basis. If you overlap employees and schedule them, you can actually, it'll give you a warning and say, hey, you assigned Joe to 2 different projects. This is something to take a look at, and it helps you just keep track of your resources. I can create unscheduled tasks over here and assign those unscheduled tasks as needed. So you don't have to schedule this out months in advance. This can be something where it's like, okay, I have a task and I'm going to go ahead, and I don't know when it's going to start. It's going to be an unscheduled task. And basically what I can do is I can drag and drop that whenever I am ready to schedule it. So you can create all of your unscheduled items, and then you can basically drag and drop them as needed as you guys create the schedule when things get a little bit closer. Okay, last couple of things that I want to do. I'm going to jump up into the reports and show you guys a couple of our other reporting areas. So in our reports, you guys can run those detail reports where it gives you like a printable. So if I'm looking at like a change order detail, it's going to look like this. This is where you can actually print out your actual change order, but it'll give you some other reporting tools on looking at change order logs and things of that nature, along with all of our other committed costs. So like I said, all of these templates, we have default ones built into the system, but you can adjust those as needed as well. You can also run daily logs. So this is just a different example of some of our reports, just to give you guys an idea of some of the stylized reports that we have built in the system. Our AIAs, and then the last one I have open here, just to show, is the submitted time report for the time card. So I'm going to quickly go through the time card piece, not in too much detail. Like I said, for direct access or P4C clients, if you guys are doing your payroll through payroll for construction, this time card feature won't be super necessary, so I want to just keep this light and just kind of run through it pretty quickly. Time card entry can be done through ProjectHQ, flow into QuickBooks and create the time card. We can have employees do time card entry. Then they'll review their time card. So this is where they can actually create a single time card, or you can have like a project manager or superintendent doing time card entry for a group of employees. They can do clock in, clock out. They can also do a simple punch in here. This simple punch in is going to be the employee comes in here, they clock in, they clock out, and then a supervisor or project manager, superintendent or something of that nature goes in there afterward and puts in all the details, the job, the cost codes, and things of that nature. These will get routed through approval. So if an employee enters time, we can set up approvals so someone approves their time and then lets that flow through. And you guys can run submitted time reports or clocked in employee reports and just see that and kind of look at the hours as they're entered. The time card feature, we can have employees that, if we don't want them to have access to all the other projects and items, we can limit it to where they can only enter time for themselves and look at the time card entry for themselves and not have access to all the other projects and things of that nature. So that is our ProjectHQ suite. Again, besides really the safety HQ, the executive HQ is really just this QuickBooks reporting. So that's everything in our HQ suite besides the safety. Like I said, if anybody had any questions on safety, this webinar really wasn't geared towards that, but I can get you guys some information on that if anybody is, or had any questions. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave, the next handful of minutes open. If anybody has any questions, you can type them in the chat and we can go through them. If you want like an immediate call back or response on anything, I can get you guys a quick email. So if you guys want like a further demo that's a little bit more specific where you guys can go through questions on everything, you can put your name in the chat and say, hey, Dylan, give me a quick call back, after this, and let's set up a separate time to do a more personal demo. Completely fine, we can do that as well. So like I said, put anything in the chat. I'll leave this open for a little bit. If there's no questions, we'll go ahead and end it. can also take down my email down there at the bottom. It is dkilpatrick@foundationsoft.com. Phone number 1-800-246-0800. If you guys have any questions, moving forward, we can do that as well. Yeah, so all of our reports can be, formatted. So in the reporting section, you guys can print those off as PDFs. So from here, these PDFs, I can save this as a PDF report, or I can print off directly through here and print the document straight out of the system. You don't have to save it as PDF, then print. It can print directly out. And then here's a list of just all the different reports that we have. So we can, run a report of the daily logs and lists. That we can do a punch list detail report, and that can be formatted and printed out as well. We can look at a detailed version or a longer list, or a log. But and then, like I said, just to circle back into it, in the settings, you can come in here and you can adjust, the different documents and make changes to them. In the template area. So I can go to custom templates. We have our our ones that are pre-built into the system, and I can also preview and I can create duplicates, and then I can go ahead and say, okay, let me duplicate that just so I have the original copy, and I can come in here and I can edit this to fit whatever needs I need for reporting purposes. I'm gonna just go ahead and flash my contact information. Like I said, if anybody if you guys want a personal demo, anything like that, just throw your name in the chat and I can reach out directly after this, get you guys some information or any questions you need. Go ahead and leave it open for a little bit longer. Give you some time to think of any questions. Like I said, if you think of something later on, you can always touch base with me and say, hey, Dylan, I had a question about X, Y, and Z, and I can touch base with you afterward. All right. Doesn't seem like there's any other questions. Like I said, if anybody does have any questions, just reach out to me via email. I'll send you guys all some follow-up emails so you guys have my contact information again and go from there. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day.